Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. Thanks for coming back, and thank you for those who are new. Hopefully we'll get some new ones. My name's Penny and I live in Central Illinois, and I am PJ Knits on Instagram, Penny J on Ravelry, and I also do a blog at www.pjknits.blogspot.com where I talk about my knitting and other things and knitting adventures. How are you all? If you're living in the Midwest, you're hot. Today is Friday, the 19th of July, and we're having a heat wave, to say the least. I got up this morning and we're having a bridal shower for my son's fiance tomorrow at a nearby church, and got up this morning to go and decorate, and there's no air in the room. You have to turn it on, and so it was a little hot getting the decorations up. But you know what? It wasn't too long ago we were complaining that it was cold outside for summer. So in Central Illinois, we have to take the heat with the rain, with the cold, with the other stuff. So we'll get through this, but I really feel for those people after just a little bit of time I was in the non-air conditioning, for those people who like the mail carriers or people who have to work outside. I just don't know how you do it. So my hat's off to those who do. Anyway, let's get started. I just got back on last Monday from knitting camp. I went with my friend Linda. We go every year to Meg Swanson's knitting camp in Marshfield, Wisconsin, and we had a lovely time. Both she and I were dealing with some knee issues, she more than I, but we made it through, and it's just a super, super camp, and it's 2.75. And just a great group of people. There were some new friends that came this time that we met, and some old friends, and we just have a great time during that weekend. We missed a lot of our group, and we hope that they'll come back next year because you were very much missed. So let's make a plan for next year to meet up. The thing we love about knitting camp is we go on Thursday, starts Thursday night, and it goes through Monday morning with a breakfast before everybody takes off. And the only thing for me that I have to worry about during that weekend is what I'm going to have for dinner and what clothes I'm going to put on. It is very low key. We learn a lot. There are many sessions, and there's show and tell, there's a contest. And if you want to know all about those things, I urge you to go out to my blog, www.pjknits.blogspot.com, where I've shown pictures of the weekend. Every day this week, I have a new topic that I show, and I'd love for you to go out there and check it out because there's some fun things. There's the contest winner, and just all things camp. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about camp and some of the things that I got while I was there. We always get a folder, and there's always a bag, and this is this year's bag, which I think is super cool. It's a good size. And then on one of the things that they have is a market that is a part of the classroom that Schoolhouse Press brings their books and their yarn and patterns, so you get to look and feel and see them up close personal. And I didn't buy a whole lot of stuff, but one of the things that I did buy off the table is this. It's called Maker Quotes that they had made up that you could purchase. And it's a magnet, or you can just stand it up on your desk. And this is what I end every one of my podcasts with. Knit on with confidence and hope, and the rest of it is through all crisis. And this is an Elizabeth Zimmerman quote. And so I had to have this for probably at my desk at work for another year-ish. So that is one of the things that I purchased while I was at camp. And then also a few weeks back, there was a pattern out and about, and it's called Harriet's Hat. And this is a pattern that you could purchase through the website, through a website. This is so that the Shetland Islands can get an MRI scanner. And so you could purchase the pattern, and it was very reasonable, and download it. And so while I was there, I wanted to get the yarns to knit my own Harriet's. To knit my own Harriet's hat. And I'll start this probably after the summer. Let's see if we can do that. This is out of Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. And those are the colorways that I picked. I'm missing the yellow. Schoolhouse Press was out of that, and it was supposed to come in this week. And so it will be on its way soon. And this is for anybody who's not used this, this is a woolly wool. This is milled and dyed in Shetland by Jamieson's. It's a fine weight, but it's perfect for color work and used quite a bit for color work sweaters. And I have another sweater done that I'm knitting out of this in the wintertime for out of this. So that was the pattern. I wanted to make sure that I could get the yarn while we were there, called Harriet's Hat. And again, this is still available if you want to do it. And the yellow is what I'm missing. And one of our campmates, Susan Rainey, had this knit up and sitting on the edge of the table, and it was really cool. I got to try it on so I know what size that I'm going to knit when I get my next yarn. And then I got a gift from my friend Jane, who always attends. She is a peanuts lover, and she gifted me a Bagoo bag. And the funny thing is, I've seen these on Instagram, and I've been going to buy one, and I just hadn't got around to it. And so she gifted me a bag, which I thought was super, super sweet. And then lastly, on Saturday of every camp, they do a market where if you are attending camp, or some people that are local vendors can come and show their wares and sell them. And so my friend Denise was at camp, and I picked up this from her shop. She brought just the silks. The shop is Lost City Knits, and if you go to Stitches Midwest or any of the Stitches events, not only does Denise and Chris vend, but Denise also teaches some great classes. And this one is called Abstraction Number 16. There's 1,000 yards on this, and it is silk, and it is one that is not in her normal line, so I had to pick it up. She does not dye it all the time, so this is can be considered, I guess, one of a kind. And this is a silk lace weight. I don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something for me, probably a little shawl or a scarf. I think this would make a nice scarf to wear around turtlenecks or even in the summertime, just as an accent piece. So I purchased that from Denise. And those were the things that that I got while I was at camp. Let's go into finally finished. I'll show this on the mannequin bit more next time, but by Heidi Kermeyer, I finally finished my Sunshine Coast, and I'm really pleased with it and the fit and the side eyelets they have and the shaping. I think it's very flattering, and it kind of gives the A-line shape. So this is Sunshine Coast by Heidi Kermeyer, and again, it's on my Ravelry project pages. You can check out all the information there, but I'm really loving it. This has a little bit of linen in it, the yarn that I purchased from my local yarn shop, the Fiber Universe. So it's very cool today after being out. And then something else that I think was super cool. My son's fiance is she likes llamas and alpacas. She thinks they're cute, and I think she's more likes llamas than alpacas. But anyway, one of the things that was on her registry list was a llama cookie cutter. So I purchased that for one of her shower presents. And then I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a llama dishcloth? So I went out looking into Ravelry, and I found one. It's called Lulu the Llama. It was for purchase, I think, for $3. And then yesterday morning, I had a hard time sleeping, and I woke up in the chair, which is sometimes where I do some of my best sleeping, about 3 o'clock. And I went to bed, and I could not get to sleep. I was thinking about all the things that I needed to do for the shower and wanted to do. So my husband usually gets up about 4, and so I laid there till about 4 o'clock. When he got up, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I might as well just get up and get the things together for the shower that I was thinking about. And then I had time on my hands, so I thought, I bet I could knit that washcloth. So I sat down, pulled out my peaches and cream yarn at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I think by 7 I was done with it. And so I'm just going to show this. This is Lulu the Llama. This is going to go in. I'm going to wrap this up and put this in with her shower presents. It was kind of a cute idea, and a little knitted gift from her future mother-in-law, so that she could get used to the knitting stuff. She already is a good recipient for knitting. A couple of years ago, before they were engaged, I knit her a cowl, and it wasn't a half an hour, I think, after she got it, that she posted pictures on Facebook about it and said how much she liked it. So I think she's definitely knit worthy. So what's on the needles? Well, I am working my way with the Caddy Jacks KAL. They are doing the party top, and I'm going to just say right up front, I am going to be 62 years old. I have hips. I don't think I ever wore crops. Now, I'm pretty certain I never did. Okay, maybe there was a halter top that was cropped when I was 15, but that's probably the last known time that I wore crops. So there's a lot of cool sweaters out there. I love them, but I'm not going to be knitting the crops to wear. They're just not me, and I would not feel comfortable in it. So I can tell you a couple of things: that I bought enough yarn on my party top that I am going to extend it down to as far as the yarn will go, and I'm hoping that it's about a 20 to 22 inch length that I can get in it. And then on the sleeve length, this is a good sleeve length. I do like that. I like the 3/4. As I've talked before, they hide my arms, not from the rest of the world, but from me. I just don't like that look necessarily. So I will go 3/4 or to the elbow on my party top. So, and this is by Abby Knits, and I am working on this. The KAL ends at the end of July, and so I'm hoping to get it done. And I knit on, that's exclusively while I was at knitting camp, I knit on it, and it's in my Button Jar Studios bag. I just love this bag. It's a great bag for my sweater. And I am using Julie Aslan Les Yeux DK, which is this a yarn that a lot of people are knitting it out of. And as you can see, I'm knitting on the body. And the sleeves have some eyelets on them. And I would encourage you to go out to the Caddy Jacks Ravelry group and see the other sweaters that are the other pattern people who are knitting party top, and see what they're doing with it. There's a great post about keeping tabs on what's going on with the increases on the sleeves and the body. And I want to tell you what I did with this one. Suggested the alternating skeins. I've never been a fan of alternating skeins because I don't like what happens when you're doing it, and I'm kind of a lazy knitter because I don't want to do that. I just want to take one skein and go and go and go. But I thought with this yarn I would heed the suggestion, and so I am doing what is called now helical knitting. I've heard it helix knitting, And there are a lot of YouTube videos out there that talk about it, but I will tell you that the one that I thought was the most informative for me when it comes to helical knitting is the one by Carol Feller. And I will link that in the show notes, both on my blog and on the Ravelry group, PJ Knits. I will link that YouTube video because I thought that one specifically, when I watched it, told me exactly how to achieve that. And I was pleased with it. And I thought it was a good idea. And I have done that, I will tell you. I have done helical knitting on almost the entire sweater, but I will point out where I have not done it because I could not figure out how to do the helical knitting in the sleeve piece. That was from Bellflower, Illinois. I'm pretty certain I don't know anybody in Bellflower, Illinois. Don't you love it? Yeah, what you want? Sometimes I just want to pick it up and just talk to them, but I know that you shouldn't do that. So sorry for the interruption. Back to helical knitting. I have done the helical knitting on almost all of the entire body of this. And when I got to the eyelets, and the way the helical knitting goes is it progressively, the change goes progressively around the sweater, and I could not figure out how to handle that on the row that I was on and when the eyelets came into play. So there was a point in time where I dropped it and I stopped doing that, but as soon as I got past that point, I picked it back up. And I can say I think where I stopped is right here in this section, and you can kind of see where the darker colors are not as prominent as they are throughout the rest. And then I picked it right back up when I could get back to a normal spot. So I highly recommend alternating skeins and doing the helical knitting. This, to me, I thought it was spot on, and several podcasters have talked about it. And whoever was the first, kudos for bringing that to us, because I will not mind that so much doing the alternating skeins. So I'm working on my party top pretty much exclusively right now, because I want to get that done in time for the end of the KAL that Caddy Jacks are running. Now, update on my 40 cowls for 40 months. The 40 months runs out in December, and I am nowhere close to having 40. So, but I have some things coming up this fall that I will strictly be knitting on those cowls. I have 4.5 months to go, and I'm not halfway there yet. So let's just say I got to get my buns moving, or my hands moving, and knitting those cowls in knitting in public. And I think probably once after I get a couple of, realistically, I think after the wedding on August 31st, then it's going to be all about cowls until I get those done, because I want to have those done and out of my hair in plenty of time. So until then, that's what I'm going to be knitting on after the wedding. Right now I have a couple of other things that I want to do. So one of the things that I am knitting on, and this is, let's call it Summer of Shawls now, the Summer of Shawls. I am working on still the bamboo wedding shawl. This is a free pattern by Pearl Soho. I've talked about it before. I'm using Handmaiden yarn flaxen for it. The plan was to give this as a pre-wedding gift at the rehearsal dinner to my daughter-in-law to be, and I don't know that that's going to happen. And if not, then it will be a very nice shawl for myself or for hospice. I am not sweating this one because it doesn't have to be done. But this again is Pearl Soho, and I've made helped make one for a friend some years ago for a wedding shower gift for her. And so here is what we're at so far. And you can kind of see on the flaxen, it has some It's called ivory, but it has an ivory thread running through it. It has like a beigey thread. It has a little bit of a blue-gray on it. And so I think it would go with almost anything. And so I am working on it. This requires my attention when I do it, so it doesn't have as much knitting time on it as others would be. And I'm holding it right now on my needle keepers, which I love. My original one, I bought these from Espace Tricot, but when we were in Minneapolis, St. Paul a few weeks ago, I bought another one at one at the yarn shop, and this is called a needle keeper. And you just pop your needles in this, and I love this because especially on the bamboo wedding shawl, I don't want to drop any stitches because it's not as easy to get it back on. And so you just pop your needles into there and it holds it, which I totally love. And again, this is a needle keeper, and you can see what keeps it there. So that is the bamboo wedding shawl. That one, again, we'll see. And then next up, this is really what I'm concentrating on in between my party top. This is a free pattern as well, and this is called Shadow Shawl by Antonio Shanklin, and I've talked about it before, showed the yarn before, and I'm loving this. The yarn that I am using was a gift in 2016 from my friend Becky, and it has, both of these have sparkle in them, and I've talked about that yarn on as well. I am loving this. This is, this is really fun to do. When I want a little bit of change from the party top that goes knitting around and around and around, when I want just a little bit of fun. And it's a triangular shawl, but I'm having so much fun knitting that one. And here are the two yarns. And they both have sparkle. You can see the stellina in them. And like I said, I'm having fun with those in between my other knitting. So I wonder, how are you all doing on your shawls for summer? With the heat that we've got now, this is a perfect one to be knitting on if you're out and about. And also great, like I said before, for wearing, in movie theaters, in even the grocery store. I noticed how chilly it was when we went and got groceries, and sometimes you just need a little something to keep covered up on. So I'm wondering, let's talk about it in the Ravelry group, PJ Knits, about your summer of shawls. What are you knitting on? What are you finished? And with that, I want to talk. I want to announce the winner for the first round of postings in the Summer of Shawls thread. And the yarn that we're giving away is, this is a Sea Silk Handmaiden. This is 70% silk, 30% sea cell, and this is a lace weight, and there are 437 yards to it. And this one is ivory, much like my flaxen that I'm doing. And I love this yarn. It is so super, super silky. And this particular skein, picked a random number, and this one is going out to Sue Waz. She finished a shawl and showed us, talked about it. Believe she was number 17 in the group. So Sue, when I see you next, I will have your giveaway. And Sue, thank you so much for posting and for watching. I do appreciate it. And then last of all, a couple of things I want to talk about is some shawls. This in July, is sometimes called the Christmas in July. And so I just really want to talk to you and show you some shawls that are in my collection that I have been gifted. None of these shawls did I knit. They were all from friends of mine for various things. And who doesn't, as a knitter, I appreciate hand knitted items, and I love getting gifts. And so I'm going to show you some of these that I have received that are in mine. First off, this was my first ever Knitmas gift. We do in the Loop and About group, hosted by Alicia, AK47. She hosts this every year. We receive a name, and then we knit between Christmas and February, and then gift the recipient a hand-knitted gift and some yarn maybe and some goodies. And so the first time I ever participated, Kim had my name, and I received this lovely shawl. This is by Kim from and is Arts Lover, and I just love it. I love this. She does a superb job. She nailed it when it came to colors for me, of course. Triangular shawl, and look at that cool palm on the end. So that is one of the first ones one of the first gifts I ever received that was knitted for me. Yeah, I think this was the first. So I love this, and I use it, and I think of a friendship that has grown ever since that first time we met at ZK, and then the Knitmas. And you gotta love a good palm. And then next up, last year, Annetta had my name for Knitmas, and again, another nailed it for me. And this one is called Bad Net. This is by Josh Ricks, and I found on her Ravelry page that this is out of Malabrigo Rios, and I've shown this before as well. This was one that was in my queue that I wanted to desperately knit, and just never got around to it. And so this was the gift that I received last year from Annetta. Super cool. I have a particular top that I wear all the time in the winter with this. So it was a great knit. And then last year, this past June at ZK, Annetta gifted me with another shawl that just wasn't her color, and it was mine. And this was Part of Your World is the pattern, and it is out of Cascade Heritage. And this I wore at knitting camp and last weekend, and got a lot of compliments on it. And look at this. I just love this, and this is another one that I can wear with a couple of tops that I have and have already worn it. And the nice thing about this is I wore it, yes, it was 85 degrees up in Wisconsin, but the classroom was freezing, and so this was perfect to wear. So thank you, Annetta, and thank you, Kim, for my shawl. And then last of all, in 2016, 2017, I had foot surgery and was unable to attend January Thaw. And because I was unable to attend, that year everybody received a colorway from Sun Valley Fibers. And when I was up and about, my friend Pam knit me a shawl out of the yarn and out of the pattern that was the giveaway that year, which was called January Thaw. And so this is another one that was gifted to me because I could not attend. And was that not the sweetest thing? Because at the time I was feeling pretty sad and pretty down that I couldn't go to something that I really wanted to go to. And then when she came home and gifted me the shawl out of the pattern and out of the yarn that was that year's gift from January Thaw, I was just moved beyond words. And it helped. And again, this one I love. This is so cool. This is so neat for casual days because we do denim casual days. And so this is super, super cool. Knit by my friend Pam. And I love the construction. Not a triangle, but but certainly could be construed as you can wear as a triangle. I'll show you the right side. As a triangle or as an asymmetrical as well. But isn't that super, super cool? And then last but not least, this was not a gift, but this was part of my friend Shar, who passed away some years ago. Her children were getting rid of her things, and I always wanted one of these shawls, and Shar had done a fantastic job on it, doing it out of fine weight yarn. This is Elizabeth Zimmerman's Pie Shawl, and just holds so many fond memories for me because I probably saw her when she was knitting on it, and she wore it to knitting camp. She was used to be Linda's roommate at knitting camp when we went, and so it just has so many fond memories of Shar, and how much, especially in the last week, and that how much we really truly missed her going with us. Knitting friends are the best. That's all I can say. And when you lose one, it's very heart-wrenching. I don't know how to put it any other words. You just think that they're going to be around and sharing in all of your joy to come, and when they pass away way too soon, it just is a little hurtful. But we remember her fondly every time we go to knitting camp, and we talk about the fun and the idiosyncrasies and the dynamics of the group that we made. So anyway, this is Elizabeth Zimmerman's Pie Shawl, knit by my friend Shar. A truly work of art. And for those of you who don't know, the Pie Shawl is a lot of work. A lot of work. Takes a lot of time to do, and on the finer weight yarn. This is so soft. The thing is that on the Shetland yarns too, when you get done, they're so very and blocked. They are very soft and snuggly and warm at the same, and has possibilities for a lot of different wearing of a shawl. And so I am fortunate to have known Shar, and fortunate to have been the recipient of this lovely gift from her children. I'm pleased to have it, and whenever I see it, I always think of her. So anyway, gift knitting of shawls. I don't know anybody who wouldn't appreciate one. So if you don't like shawls for yourself, but you want to knit one, I would encourage you to knit one for someone else. Knit one for a friend who's going through some trouble, who needs a cheer me up. Knit for hospice. I'm sure they'll always take your shawls as gifts. And if you absolutely don't have anybody, I love shawls. The last thing I just want to tell you about was at knitting camp every year all of us are a recipient of a pattern from Cheryl Oberly. Cheryl used to attend 2.75, and she's had a lot going on and hasn't been able to attend, but ever since then, she has gifted each one of the campers a pattern, and this year it is a rectangular stole. I'm looking forward to knitting it because I do like the wraps, even if they're not for me, for hospice. This is called County Fair Shawl. So we were the recipient of that, and I'm putting it in my to-do list for down the road for some knitting of shawls. So that is all I have for you this week. I hope you're having a great summer. I hope it's involving shawls knitting or whatever you're knitting. I hope that you will like this video, and that if you have not, you will subscribe. And if you would tell a friend to tune in, that would be wonderful too. Join our Ravelry group, PJ Knits, and until the next time, knit on with confidence and hope, and have a great summer. Thanks for coming by. Bye.